take up. Might take that.
If the Elaine was taking over for Amanda, anything, I can say something really fast.
Great. I think that'll be great.
Really fast.
Yep.
Is it popping up yet?
Nope.
Hope. It's gonna think about it now. We need to hire a master.
Okay. I've got it, so no worries. It took less time than I thought it would.
Do you wanna come over here?
Got to rearrange the names and stuff, but thanks though.
This is the second time that this has happened to me.
You have to
I
restart?
don't know.
We kind of really need all those documents.
Yeah, there's so many things.
Do you wanna work on the tech while I conduct the opening stuff, or do you wanna wait?
You can start and I'll keep on working on this.
Okay. Are we still recording?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and call us to order. Welcome to the Planning Commission for September 10th, 2025. My sincere apologies to all of you and you for the late start. Thank you for your patience. We've got everybody here but Lane and Amanda, and the Vice Chair Patterson has volunteered to do the prayer and the thought.
Okay, so my thought today is, after it's been such a crazy day, as everybody knows, I was really sad about thinking about our society. I really love people, and I love how we care for each other, and people usually have each other's backs. And I was very saddened today that was not the case with the shooting down at UVU. And it just made me think, love the ones you love and have people's backs, right? We're a community, whether we're a family or whether we're a group, we're a community, and we just need to have each other's backs and be more kind and take care of one another. And that's what I have to say about that. Are you going to do it?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Father in heaven, we are grateful for this opportunity to be together, and we thank thee for this opportunity to serve our community. We ask that thou would please be with us tonight as we discuss the agenda for this meeting. And we ask thee also to please bless the hearts of all those that are mourning. Bless and surround them with love. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you, everybody. So we have 3 items on our business agenda today, pretty much all related, interrelated, I'm assuming. Is it going to be Ms. DeWeese that's presenting? Or?
It's me on all 3.
Very good. Why don't you take it from here?
So the first item is a public hearing item regarding the conditional use permit for gasoline service station use as connected to the convenience store site plan proposal that we previously reviewed with the concept site plan, and is also item 3 in your packet tonight. The request specifically is located, the address, just so you know, throughout all the documents, I did get a legitimate address from the public works director. It is 1262 West Parish Lane, so you will hear that repeated, and I would ask that when you hit the address on your motions, that be the address that's noted for any motion made. So 1262 West.
Say that again.
1262 West Parish Lane. So just to note that. That being said, there's 2 gas canopy locations on this site. There's one located behind the proposed building site, the north, that is facing 1250 West, more or less, and the access point into 1250 West, or from 1250 West. And then there's one that's more oriented towards Parish Lane. Both gas canopies, one is a larger, more like travel site space that allows larger vehicles to use that space in the back, the northern canopy area. The one in the front is more for traditional vehicle use. The total together is 15 gasoline dispensers between all the canopies. And so that was what would be expected to be constructed along with the rest of the site construction as that process moves forward. This is located in the Parish Lane Gateway area. As such, there are gateway area standards that are more applicable to the site plan item, which we'll get to, but may have some limited application to a conditional use review where applicable. And then it is also in the Legacy Crossing CD area. The only reason that that is relevant is because the applicant group is aware of it the site needing to, or matching into the neighborhood aesthetic and the landscaping and you know, the environment that's already been created by previous development to the south of the site. It's, again, in limited aspects connected to the CUP, but more so on the site plan when we get to that. And finally, as you look at the conditional use permit, you're looking at generally applicable things such as landscaping, buffering, parking, lighting, signage. You'll notice in the bolded comment on page 2 at the bottom, I quoted code specifically that the only design construction elements to be discussed and considered for the addition of conditions to this request would be any specified or noted impacts that would require conditions to reduce or ameliorate any potential health, safety, and/or public welfare impacts as part of the proposed service station portion of the final site plan request for the Quik Trip project proposal. And the code actually has listed what types of things we're talking about: conditions concerning use, construction, character, location, landscaping, screening, parking, hours of operation, and other matters related to the purposes and objectives of Title 12. Now, these need to be very, very narrow in scope. They legitimately have to be something that is significantly of impact, that needs to be a condition or request to ameliorate, to otherwise allow the use to go there. The public hearing advertisement has been issued in accordance with state and city requirement. You can see then in the report, the site plan location, and the conditions of a conditional use permit review. There's a full report there. I won't go into the details of it unless you'd like me to in more detail, but you can see there even the factors that are identified under item 3. Those are the review factors, and then there's a breakdown of all those articles and how they're addressed on page 5 of that report. So A through C and F are in the first one, talking about suitability and harmony of the proposed site and adjacent property. Impact on the community, safeguards to minimize this impact are D and E and H through J. And then on the next page, adequate access, parking, lighting, fire protection, vehicle circulation are in Article G. A few features to note with the site plan that the CUP associated with this use, for safety, access, and use, the city, through the city engineer, has requested that the roundabout be installed as part of that 500 west 12 or 500 north 1250 west intersection. That's reflected. The property development team has also agreed to providing a wider trail access along the frontage of 1250 west as part of this site, which will hopefully encourage safer use, pedestrian, bike, etc. Roundabout will create better circulation clearly at 500 as part of that. So other than that, though, there weren't really any specific conditions that were noted to be ameliorated, and you can see there are 5 noted conditions that more are connected to final site plan approval, traffic management requirements, that it be a conditional approval tied to the convenience store site plan request, and that they meet all applicable local, state, and federal rules and regulations. And then clearly, if there's any violations, then there could be a revocation of it. So with that, and then you can see the findings there under, and with that, I would defer to the Planning Commission. And obviously, there are multiple documents, items, photos, et cetera, further evidencing what the conditional use permit request is for the site. So with that, I turn it back over to Planning Commission as you'd like to proceed.
Thank you. In the number 1 approve under sub 5, it talks about home occupations. I was confused about that.
I might have just,
Very likely just a simple cut.
it is, where is that at?
Number 5.
Oh, whoops. It should just be for this conditional use permit.
Correct.
My mistake in
Correct.
putting that together.
No worries.
I thought I had refined all the
I'm not jumping ahead.
bumps and warts.
I just want to
Oh,
make sure that I
that
did
isn't
not
error.
misunderstand.
So it
something.
should be from the conditions of approval for the conditional use permit.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Does anybody have questions for staff?
I don't know who they're for.
I have some comments,
Well, I'm happy, why don't you just, let's throw them out, let's see what you got.
whether it's for us or whether it's for Mike. Is that what we're doing right now?
Sure.
Okay. So, under public welfare impacts, my only concern that was there previously and there now are the kids, right, in all the apartments.
Oh, across the street to the south.
Yeah, yeah, and them wanting to cross the street to go to the new gas station, right, or the convenience store. I saw that UDOT has done a traffic, whatever it's called,
The applicant actually did the traffic impact
the
study and then
impact
provided
study.
it to UDOT.
right,
Yeah.
but we still don't have an answer back.
Their re-review hasn't been finalized. That'd probably be a better question to
Right,
ask the
but
applicant. Yeah.
anyway, so I was thinking
Yep.
about them crossing and thinking about all the semis that are gonna come down there and backing, you know, going over. I just had a bunch of questions about that, like, the city plans on doing a roundabout.
Yeah.
When?
As needed or directed by the city engineer and public works at a future date. I don't know the exact future date.
So if this place goes in a year, could it be a similar time frame, or is it gonna be like after that?
I honestly don't know.
I'm not trying to pin you down.
I understand. I honestly
Honestly,
don't know the time frame. So what this establishes is the right of way and is part of this design that the city will have rights to develop into. But I'm not sure that this roundabout would be developed right away at the same time as this project.
So if the roundabout is not there and the trucks can't go down and round to get in.
I might be wrong. Am I wrong? As far as you understand, Spencer?
Can you say that again?
Maybe, could I have him come up?
Yeah, why don't we move on to the
Am I
next?
going out of decorum?
That's,
Might be an hour.
that's okay, not a problem. So what we're gonna do is, we'll have, who's here for the applicant?
Let's just have the applicant.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys both want to come to the podium? All right. Tag team. If you'll state your names, positions, address.
Spencer Hymas, here with Galloway, the engineer of record.
My name is Daniel Chambers. I'm here with Quick Trip. I work for Quick Trip. So,
So generally it would be a little more formal, but given the breadth of this project and also all three of these, we're going to do a little bit more loosey-goosey. Sound okay?
we're here, whatever.
So my understanding is that the question, go ahead.
Yeah, so again, my understanding is the right-of-way would be established as shown in the drawings, but the city would initiate that process at a later date. And so the applicant group with this site plan is accepting that alignment or that proposed roundabout design for future improvement when the city needs it. But again, I don't know if there's a different
Yeah,
understanding from the
do you
applicant.
guys understand that the roundabout is not being developed at the same time and constructed at the same time as this development?
Our understanding was that we were going to be working in coordination with the city and improving based upon what we put into the plans.
Okay,
So, I mean, that's been our direction so far.
Got it.
so that
Thanks.
would be just a misunderstanding on my part. And I will defer to the applicants on this because they have had much more conversation with our city engineer about the roundabout than I have been involved throughout.
So then the roundabout is likely to go in during the development?
I think our discussion was that we would get the design put in place, and we haven't gotten into discussions about the actual construction of it.
Sure, sure. And it wouldn't, it isn't their responsibility to construct the roundabout, correct?
Right. That's a city
That's the
project.
city project.
Yeah, in fact, just across the street, just to add some context to the very nature of the question, there's already been some, I guess you'd say right-of-way access that's been acquired from the property owner across the street directly to the east for the same improvement. Yeah.
The direction that I think the vice chair is headed, and I don't mean to put too many words in your mouth, jump in here if I'm
Okay.
saying it wrong, is that she wants to make sure that the traffic patterns are going to be safe, correct?
Yes, because I wonder if the roundabout is not going to be there at the same time that it's opening, where those semi-trucks are going to enter. Are they going to stop on 16, is it 1650, 1250?
1250.
Are they going to stop on 1250 and wait to be able to turn to come in, thus backing up traffic here and here over the overpass?
No, so we have things
Figure it out in my head.
designed in a way where the access point's going to function based on that roadway, continuing through until the city puts that in, but there's still the access back there where trucks can turn into the space.
Right, at the very north end.
Correct.
But not like in the middle.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the location closest to 1250, actually, if you look at it, it has a internal island that will only allow for ride in, ride out.
Did look at all of this, but I
What
was.
page are you on?
It's on the site plan, which is the third page of the 89-7494 Centerville
You
document.
don't happen to have a page of the PDF packet?
And then also to help with that, we do a lot of wayfinding signage as well too. And so the way that we design the sites is we
Got it.
intend to delineate between the auto and then any larger vehicles like that. And we do sign it that way and make sure that everyone is aware of it too. So to help with that traffic flow too. So that's something that we will also do as part of our standard
Which is
package.
good, and I
Yeah.
appreciate that. But hold on one second. Is this?
And we're still waiting for UDOT to conduct their, traffic
The
control
final
study,
approval.
right?
In
Turn
fact,
it.
that's one of the
Yeah.
conditions noted in the CUP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
there are multiple
does the
pages.
applicant have any understanding of where that process is with UDOT currently?
Yeah, so we are in our second round of review. They've already done preliminary reviews, and at this point, we're just tying up kind of the loose ends from, just adding comments here and there to make sure that the plans really detail what's going on, but they have a good understanding of what's being proposed, and we feel like we're in alignment there to get an approval shortly.
One thing I will note about, well, there's two things I will note about this site that are, I guess, lightly relevant here, and more so as we continue discussion on the other items. The property right now obviously has had a previous industrial use as a cement plant and has a lot of leftover remnants from that use on it all over the place scattered. So in some ways you could argue, as it sits, it is somewhat of an attractive nuisance, plus it's swampy with quite a bit of identified wetland impacts to the property. And it doesn't even have any walkway across the frontage of it. So one way to look at what has been provided is there actually are improvements of three things that are currently unsafe and detrimental to the general welfare of the public at this location that could be improved with this development. That is something to think about.
Right.
Yeah, I have no doubt about that. I
Yeah.
was impressed by a lot of things on it, but I do have questions about some things. Are there going to be sidewalks on that side on 1250? on
Yeah,
your
we have a
side?
large trail that's proposed along 1250.
It's wider than normal. It's actually a 10-foot wide asphalt trail that's required, it is requested by the engineer to connect to what's already been improved on the south. And that actually will continue forward all the way northward to the UDOT bridge that will eventually be built and create a full systemic access along 1250. Where a typical sidewalk is going to be 4 to 6 inches, you're getting a much wider access way for public use along that frontage.
And another question, because we don't typically bike over there, but we bike all over randomly wherever. We don't particularly like going over the overpass, but we have and we do when we just wander. Do you know, maybe that's a question for you. How are they going to do bike lanes, or are they going to do bike lanes
Are
on
you
that
talking
street?
about-
1250.
The 1250, this trail will be wide enough to accommodate at 10 feet. It'll be very,
So it's a
very
full
wide.
trail to do that, okay.
Mhm. And that's what it's meant for, is pedestrian and or biking and.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. From a comprehensive area perspective, with this may be getting a little bit off, but I think it is relevant. When UDOT does the widening of I-15 and they do the rebuild of Parish Lane, there will actually be pedestrian/bike accesses on both sides of Parish Lane with that redevelopment, which will be helpful and further allow for more safe access within this area as this area continues to develop. And then, like I said, you'll have the bridge that will connect to Community Park on the far north end that will also be a trail access that will allow for walking and bicycle access up and over from either side of the freeway back and forth. So this trail start here is very crucial because of the long-term benefits what the city's trying to accommodate to connect to that trail system on the north end, and then what's going on with Parish Lane and I-15 on the south end.
Okay. I wish we could access the documentation. I did have another question under the U.S. Army Corps.
Oh, and that's in the
Okay.
site plan.
Just
Yeah.
wait till the site plan?
That's in the site plan, and I will come to that, back to that at the site plan.
Okay. Right. That answers my question for this.
Perfect, thank you. Who else has questions for either staff or the applicant? Okay. anything else you'd like to add for the conditional use?
Yeah, we're very excited to be here, and it's been a good experience working with the city and the staff, and we're very much looking forward to one of our first new facilities here with you guys, so very excited.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, so I'll bring it back to the commission. For the conditional use permit, as you all know, we're looking for detrimental impacts, and then if they cannot be mitigated, then it would be a harder consideration, but as
Chair, might I just ask, are we wanting to do the public hearing before you go?
we
down?
are going to want to do the public
Okay,
hearing.
I
Thank
just
you for
wanted to
the-
make sure we weren't.
Thank you for the reminder.
Ahead of ourselves.
I'll get 7 seconds.
Yeah, they'll get 7 seconds, that's for sure. I am going to pause, and I'm going to go back to the public hearing, and I'm going to open it up to the public for comment, and ask anybody who'd like to provide comment, come to the podium, state your name and address. Seeing no takers, I'm going to close the public hearing. Thank you, everybody. Anyways, this is where I was headed. As we consider this conditional use permit, we're looking for detrimental impacts. From everything that I'm seeing, I don't have any issues with the impacts and how they've been mitigated. I'm just questioning if anybody else has any issue that they'd like to discuss on the conditional use. You identified the traffic, which was my first initial, right, potential detrimental impact in my head when I was reading through this, and
Yes.
you've done a good
And
job.
that is listed if you were to approve as condition 2 in your packet,
Well, this is where I am, I'll just,
unless you'd like to add additional.
yeah, if you want to, I'm totally open to it. I look at this and I see all of the guardrails, so to speak, that are being imposed on the applicant, that the quote-unquote detrimental impact of traffic here is not so detrimental as to need additional guardrails than what is already being imposed. So that's sort of where I'm at.
Right.
So the impact study, because I think I know where you're headed with all of this, but I don't recall now because there was so much reading that I did.
Where do you
if-
want me to go?
Well, I think you're going to do this, but does it say in here about the,
Yeah, so the applicant is required to receive traffic access management approval. And so their access management is going to be imposed by UDOT, and they're the experts. Far better than us.
oh, for sure.
Yeah, and so I'm just like, okay, that's a great condition. That's what I was inarticulately explaining.
You're great. You're great, Mason. Okay.
All right, well, seeing no other, jumping for the conversation, I will take a motion.
I'll make a motion. I hereby make a motion for the planning commission to approve the conditional use permit request from Galloway Engineering for a gasoline service station as located on parts of parcels 06-006-0082 and 06-006-0118, known as 1262 West Parish Lane for the business Quik Trip. The conditional use permit shall be subject to the following conditions of approval, 1 through 5, with scratched out home occupation at the bottom of that, and suggestions, reasons for, suggested reasons for actions, findings including A through C.
Excellent. I would suggest, this is pedantic, also striking this, the word this prior to home occupation, just
Okay.
to make the sentence not have a remnant.
Do I need?
No, just,
I accept that.
okay, very good. Friendly amendment. I have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. We're going to go ahead and vote on, or, well, any discussion on the motion? All right, I'm going to start down here.
Aye.
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 Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that passes unanimously. Moving on to business item number 2.
I want to let you guys know that I talked to Jennifer, and she is also stumped about what is going on, so it's not going to be working for the rest of this meeting.
Okay.
Okay, I'm
Thank you.
sitting close then,
Yeah,
so I can read.
no problem.
Thanks.
All right, why don't we go to the landscaping waiver?
Okay, let me just get to that. So on this one, per CZC 12.51.050 waiver of strict compliance, there is an opportunity for the applicant to pursue, I guess you'd say, variation or minor alterations to the requirements of landscaping standards otherwise established by city codes. The applicant has submitted that request. You can find that in your packet if you have access to your packet information. I apologize again for not being able to be pulled up here. There's an email request submitted to us on September 4th, and that is included in your packet. The key factor note in the applicant's request to propose landscaping improvements shows they're planning to install 22.5% of landscaping overall for the site, whereas in the Parish Lane Gateway area, they're only required to do 15%. So the first key point is they're providing 7.5% more landscaping to the site than is otherwise required in the Parish Lane Gateway corridor. When you look at the requests that are part of the actual waiver of strict compliance, the first one is there be a waiver of landscaping buffer requirement per the Parish Lane Gateway District. There is a requirement typically that they would do a landscaping buffer requirement right along Parish Lane. But in this case, if you were to look at the site plan, you'd see there's two very large storm drain pipes. There's 36 diameters that are very big, and they're right where that landscaping would otherwise want to go. So the trees have been designed to be planted immediately to the north of that and still trying to meet the spirit of that intent, but unable to do so because of the higher priority improvements that are in the ground at that location. The second request is, per our code, there is a requirement that one tree be planted for every 25 feet of public street frontage. That's in our landscaping ordinances as found in C 12.51. The applicant group is only deficient by 3 trees along 1250 west. They do meet it otherwise along Parish Lane, where again, they can install that with that water line. They have articulated in their request that this is likely due to the addition of the large roundabout impact to the site that otherwise would it not be impacting the site, and it would be just a drive access, and also other utilities, as well as the trail itself could possibly be impacting it. They do further articulate that overcrowding is not good for the long-term sustainability of the trees, and so they feel like that's an adequate request. But even beyond that, they've also noted that they would plan to plant 3 additional trees on the site. And so for these reasons, they're requesting this waiver. I provided in the packet the map of the images. Again, you know the site now for the previous item. As we look at CZC 12.51.050C, that outlines the findings that are required. There's 3 of them. And there's a short analysis relative to that. The first one is looking at whether or not the intent of the chapter and the provision for the waiver authorization is preserved. The requested waiver strict compliance does no harm to the intent of this chapter. The provisions, which are landscaping otherwise in this case, for which the waiver is authorized. The granting of the waiver request would not result in any known or identified adverse impact on any surrounding properties. In fact, as was discussed in the last item and further outlined herein, the applicant has worked hard to improve the site. They're providing above and beyond landscaping. They're still providing for as best they can these expectations where there are other challenges with the road and or storm improvements. The only thing I noted in bold is I said staff would recommend that the Planning Commission request the applicant group update the landscaping plan to clearly show where these 3 additional trees will otherwise be installed. And then finally, as noted in 3A, strict application of landscaping requirements along Parish Lane 1250 West would be argued to be unreasonable for already noted reason identification by the applicant. Further, the applicant group is planning to install at least 22.5%, which I already noted, well above the requirement, and so that would address the 3A. And 3B I didn't feel was applicable in this specific case as it relates to the code, so that's why I didn't address 3B. So based on them seeming to clear the findings and the test of the findings, staff felt comfortable with the recommendation for approval of the waiver of strict compliance application. You do have recommended motions in your packet, again noting that the address for the site would be 1262 West Parish Lane, and then the findings are identified also. I realize now it says A, B, C, D, E, E. It should be A, B, C, D, E, F if you were to do an approval, so I apologize for that. And then you'll see in the packet the supporting landscaping plan, irrigation plan, the code guidance on the waiver strict compliance in their email. So with that, I would turn it back over and defer to the planning commission how you'd like to proceed.
Excellent. So we're going to proceed to questions for staff. I'll start. My questions are, do we really need the 3 trees?
It's to meet the requirement of the code.
I
So
know,
I guess,
We're in the process of, I find this site rather extraordinary for a number of reasons.
I would, like I would say, if the planning commission felt like that wasn't required, I feel like you would have discretion to weigh in.
Well,
on that.
here's where I'm headed. I'm
Yeah.
gonna ask you a question. So it's a busy site. You've got lots of
Right.
trucks, you've got lots of cars. More trees are obviously gonna have to be put into places where there are, adequate site triangles and sight lines.
Yeah.
I'm just curious if it's necessary. This is the furthest west development we're ever gonna have. And so, yeah, it might be really nice to have the trees down there. I'm just curious if it is necessary.
I feel like within the allowance of the waiver strict compliance, you have the discretion to make that determination.
Okay. Are they running out of space for these 3 trees, or is there gonna be plenty on the west side?
I don't know, I guess that's a.
I guess we'll ask
I know, maybe it's even a little facetious, I'm sure there's space for it.
Yeah.
But whether or not it's really gonna be required outside of the code requiring it.
Sure.
That's really, I guess, a determination to make with the waiver.
Okay. That was my only question. Questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
You want me to start shooting?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I do have a question, though, about the drawing to the west of it between the gas station and Legacy. Are those apartments? Am I correct?
So I talked about that briefly in the site plan, but I can address that now.
Yes.
There's a conceptual rendering or an idea of that potentially being a use for that property as
Mm-hmm.
part of the future subdivision, but that has not been identified as a for-sure thing for that area.
Is this part of them, or is this something else?
That's something else that was conceptually drawn in there to just kind of show how the site could link into
But not
this
with
site.
them, not
Right,
associated with
that's
them
correct.
at all?
That's correct.
Okay. So then, if that is true, having 3 more trees, though it's only 3, but having 3 more trees as a buffer between semi-trucks and loud noises and people coming in.
Yeah, if you have a
and
potential
brakes.
residential use, were it to go residential, there could be an argument for, I guess, those 3 trees
Uh-huh.
potentially.
True, but isn't it the development's responsibility that is coming in, which means that it would be the departments that would need.
There would be a reverse landscaping review in that aspect.
I agree with that.
In all fairness, but I
Right,
see
no.
where you're headed.
Yeah, I
And
agree
I
with
think you
both
have a
points.
legitimate direction.
Well, thank you.
Keep going, keep going.
Thanks, Mason. So anyway, that was my question about that.
Yeah.
That, anyway, you answered it. And then you had said, or I had read in there, that there was deficiency along Parish Lane in regards to the landscaping.
Oh, the berming, is that you're wanting to talk about the
Yeah.
berming? There's a berming requirement that's part of the Parish Lane Gateway Standards. Yeah, and originally, that deficiency was identified both by the applicant and by us, and the applicant group has stated that they will be sure to include the berming in the final construction drawings that we provided. But again, that could be, I suppose, something that could be added to any
So we need to,
motion.
that needs to be
To
clarified.
just verify that that would be
Uh-huh.
provided as part of the final landscaping plan.
Okay,
I suppose that could be part of their motion.
you know it. And then also, we are to define or rather clarify whether it's 22.5 or 30%.
We have that clarification. I haven't explained that yet, but we had a DRC meeting on Monday. I would bring that up in the site plan, but I'll bring that up now. Yeah, it's 22.5%,
For sure.
for sure.
And so that's what's in the documentation. So we
And that's
don't
why I
need to
took
clarify.
up under versus over,
Uh-huh.
to make sure we're showing at a minimum what the
Okay.
improvement is over the requirement.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. I'm good.
Excellent. All right, we're going to open up to the applicant or applicants' representatives.
So you could pass it
And
down.
I'm going to assume your names and positions haven't changed.
Correct.
So my question to you, well, do you want to start with anything, or are we okay to jump into my question?
Yeah, I talked with the property owner that would be potentially next to us there with Spencer, and if they do any sort of residential, we were going to enter into an escrow agreement that we would put the money up for those trees in the future if they ever did any residential, where you were talking about that we'll make sure those trees get added. If that was something you guys wanted.
Well, is that something that legally can be between you two, and since it's already in code, or is that something that we need to?
So the way I look at it is if it's not part of this waiver strict compliance, it's gonna be required. So if you're gonna grant them leniency on the 3 trees, it would need to be with this decision. Otherwise, they're still deficient by requirement. So what I guess I'm saying is in order to grant the leniency of the 3 trees, it would need to be part of this item too right now that we're discussing.
Why don't I ask my question?
Do it.
Okay, so my question was, I recognize it's a pretty busy site. I personally have no qualms with waiving strict compliance. My question to you is, where are you going to put those 3 trees?
So I have had discussions with our landscape architect who put this plan together. He said that there could be places similar to what you were mentioning as far as a buffer along it'd be the northern and the western sides, where they might be able to fit in some additional trees. He said up to 3 would be something they could work through. So definitely something that we were prepared to accept.
So it's feasible, it's not going to impact the health of those trees by jamming more in there?
Correct. It's only an issue along that frontage space due to the larger access point where that roundabout's
Right.
at.
Right, right.
Because we can't put the trees in the asphalt there.
Totally.
No, and we don't need more along that area.
Yeah.
Are you finished with
I'm
that?
done. Thank you.
Okay, so did I get it right when Mike said you're going to be clarifying the berm on Parish, right? Or is that, you're clarifying it when?
We are planning to do the berm, and we were going to work with staff as they're working on their final review of that.
Final.
And illustrate that berm is in place.
Okay. But is that something that we need to?
You could put that in as
Address
part of, as
as a
a condition. I don't
condition.
have it in the packet, but you could include a statement about that.
Okay, okay.
Anybody else with questions for the applicant?
Address mine.
I missed what you said.
So what you guys were just discussing
Oh,
addressed my
got it.
question, yeah.
Do you guys have anything else you'd like to add? All right, thank you so much. We're going to proceed to the public hearing. I'm going to open up the floor to the
There's not a
public.
public hearing on this one, Aaron.
Dang it! That's hilarious. I'm going to proceed with this public meeting and call it back to the commission for discussion. I'll lead out. I'm fine with the 3 additional trees. I just didn't know if it was going to be too jam-packed, and it apparently is not going to be. So, because I was looking at how jammed it was on the roadsides.
Right.
It's going to be
We don't want
lovely.
it to impede.
I mean, I want Centerville to be Tree City, USA, but, yeah. I'm sure you do too, Gary.
Yeah, exactly.
I have no qualms with the motion as written.
I think it just should add for clarifying reasons or for clarification.
About the berm.
Yeah, about the berm, that there needs to be, that it's deficient.
What kind of language? Let's craft that language before
Well,
we launch into
Mr.
it.
Attorney,
Yeah,
or
I'm-
Mr. Attorney.
Nose
I-
goes.
I need you to come up with some good legalese on this one. How should it be worded? Do you
You're
understand?
regarding, I'm not gathering where you're going with the
So,
location of it exactly.
It says that on Parish Lane, there's deficiency in the landscaping. He said that they've talked about it, but it hasn't been, we just need to make sure that that is a verified thing.
Yeah, but the location's gonna be approved by, I guess it would probably be the city.
Staff would verify that it meets the intent of the code for the burning establishment along Parish Lane.
Yeah,
as
what he
required by
said.
code. Yeah.
Is that something that the city engineer approves, or?
We actually, it would be me,
Okay.
in all honesty, that would look at the landscaping and verify it, yeah.
That would be my only update, and then, is it as written?
Yeah,
Does it say?
No, it needs to be 1262.
yeah.
Is that what you're
No.
asking? Oh,
What
sorry.
I'm asking is, does it say in there to add the additional 3 trees?
Yeah, right there. Let me-
Yeah,
Let me
it's in
zoom in, sorry. Yeah, I was taking issue with the trees as removing it. It's there.
We do have it on the bigger screen if you.
Oh, okay. Can you make it a little bigger? I'm that blind, even with my glasses. Okay, great.
And I can give you the exact citation of where that berming is required if you just bear with me for a minute.
Sure.
I'm comfortable without the code being
Okay.
cited.
If you want it.
I'll go ahead and make a motion if that's okay.
Okay.
And then tell me if this is going to meet, you know. I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve. I hereby make a motion for the Planning Commission to approve the landscaping waiver of strict compliance request from Galloway Engineering for the Quik Trip Site Landscaping Plan as located on parts of parcels as listed in the report, known as 1262 West Parish Lane, and the approved waiver elements shall be as follow. Number 1, as written, number 2, as written, and number 3, that regarding the berm, staff, that the applicant would need to make sure that staff has verified that the landscaping berm meets code.
Yes. And then
The
your
address.
motion would include.
Oh, yeah, for
the
suggested reasons,
yeah.
A through E, including the last E, which is F.
But also a clarification, please go back. Because the address is incorrect and you said as stated. Go back.
For the address at
Correct,
1262.
on 2.
Yep.
Correct.
All references to the address to be 1262.
Okay,
That is my motion.
then I second it.
All right, I've got a motion and a second. We'll start down here.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that passes unanimously. Moving on to staff item, or business item number 3. Ms. Dragon.
We're getting there. Okay, the third item, this is not a public hearing.
Dang it.
For Quick Trip Convenience Store, final site plan. This is following on the previous concept site plan that the Planning Commission reviewed back on June 11th, 2025. The applicant is now ready to move forward with the final the final site plan review. This review has gone through multiple iterations of review with the Development Review Committee of the city, which is obviously all the department heads and the departments that participate in the review of these types of projects. As was previously noted on the last 2 items, highlights of this improvement are a roundabout improvement at 500 North and 1250 West, the improvement of the trail system along 1250 West, and obviously the development of the property that has otherwise been undeveloped at this point and had its previous development. One of the noted areas that we'll get into in just a second is there are some waterways and identified wetlands in the site. And another item to note that has been discussed at the conceptual site plan as well as in your packet today is that this requested final site plan work to be approved. We would request of staff that it be contingent upon the minor subdivision approval proposal by WGG Group. That is noted as a condition in the recommended approval should you go that direction. One element of the approval for the final subdivision would be that final subdivision be recorded and all associated bonding also be in place before any construction activities would actually start with this final site plan. So I'll come back to that and kind of give you some suggested wording that is not in your packet but addresses some of that to further strengthen that commentary. The final site plan review and analysis is identified on pages 3 and 4 for the specific item. And the standards approval of condition for a final site plan are per CZC 12.21.110F. The applicant did initiate the final site plan process back on July 11th, 2025, when they paid for the application, submitted the documentation, have been working with staff since that time. Element 1, which is a final site plan, shall conform to its associated conceptual site plan. The final site plan does in fact conform to what was previously accepted by the Planning Commission for the conceptual site plan, and the discrepancies at the time for the most part have been addressed absent the things that we've now covered, which is the CUP, the waiver of strict compliance, and a few other lingering things that are in the checklist that I'll briefly hit on in a moment. Number 2 is the entire site shall be developed at one time unless a phase development plan is approved by the approving authority. There is no phasing plan desired or required for this site. There is, as we have previously discussed, some future road access connectivity to the property to the west that is going to be somewhat left available should the property owner of the remainder of the parcel want to develop in the future and connect into this site. And then the third item is the site plan shall conform to the applicable standards set forth in this title and other applicable provisions of the Centerville Municipal Code. Conditions may be imposed as necessary to achieve compliance with applicable code requirements. There is a list A through K of conditions that are established to link to a suggested approval motion or the planning commission to go that direction. If you'd like to discuss any of these in particular, we can, but I will now go over the checklist in particular and identify just a few things that have since been either addressed or discussed at the DRC relative to the site. And these things would also be noted as a condition. These things being checklist items that still need to be resolved are tied to item 8 of the conditions found under the approval would address those. So let me go over those checklist items for you and give you some updates on them. So following our DRC meeting that we held last Monday, question mark items have been addressed. There was one comment about fire flow testing, and the determination was that the applicant group would work with our water department to satisfy fire suppression requirements. And the fire marshal that was in attendance was comfortable with that plan. So there were some concerns about water pressures, but it sounds like we'll be working with the applicant group to identify how best to address the water pressure to satisfy those requirements. So that's been addressed. I did note where there's a need to get that approval from UDOT and some form of approval from Davis County Health Department. That is a condition that is explicitly outlined in your approval conditions, so that they are aware of that, the applicant is aware of that. We've covered waiver strict compliance. When we talk about the wetlands mitigation, where it says evidence of compliance with applicable federal law, local, state laws and regulations, they have put together, as you see, a request for mitigation. The property owner is aware of what's required to comply with that mitigation, and we heard in the meeting that they believe, the property owner believes that the mitigation requirements of the Army Corps will be addressed and approved by the end of the year. So that should satisfy and cover that requirement. That's what they believe will happen, so we'll see. But bottom line is that, yeah, that is a tied-in condition to, again, this checklist and the requirements of the checklist being met with that condition of recommended approval. And then moving on to the landscape, when we talked about the discrepancy, it is 22.5%, so that will need to be adjusted on the final drawings for the site plan and landscaping to be consistent. The note about the gating enclosure and coloration of screening, wall to match building, the applicant team has said that they will get me an indication, an image of some kind to show that that does in fact match the building and the aesthetic of the walls. So once we get that, then they will have that in the file. So we'll verify that as staff, and that is again a condition that's captured by the approval checklist or the approval conditions. And then wall signage, I have discussed with the applicant that the wall signage needed to be further clarified, provided them some code to help them to better assist me in getting me that final information. There's just two signs that seem like they're variable signage boards on both walls that have indications of food on the elevations in your packet. I just don't know what the dimensions are, and I need to make sure that they are compliant with code. So again, the applicant group is aware of that, and I sent that email to them either Monday or Tuesday after we met just to get further clarification. So again, that is something that can be captured with the motion in your packet. There was this minor note that they needed to address, and that's it. Then finally, the updates to the motion relative to the Quik Trip final site plan. When we talked about the link to the minor subdivision approval, if you look at Article 9 of the, or Condition 9 of the approval, I just have added after where it says, this includes that the final minor subdivision plat will need to be recorded in accordance with Title 15 of the City Municipal Codes, comma, and associated bonding will be accepted by the city prior to construction. So I would add that probably should be added to that following our discussion with the applicant group on Monday and per direction of legal. And then also item 10, I did note where it says development related costs consistent with city ordinances and fee schedules. I've added comment, this includes any bonding that may be applied. So I would just suggest those addenda. And with that, I would defer to the Planning Commission how you'd like to proceed at this point. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eggett. Show me where in these conditions of approval it talks about the Army Corps, because I didn't see that.
That is, so it's a catch-all relative to the Centerville final site plan
Oh,
checklist.
I see where we're at.
So,
Yeah, that's fine.
yeah, and
Thank you.
that element would be captured on
Yep.
page 3 under additional items.
Thank you.
And on that, one requirement about the bonding, if you could just say that as required by the city rather than accepted.
Okay.
Just to,
That's good. Thank you, Lisa.
As required by what?
as required, the bonding as required.
Just as required.
By the city. By the city.
I don't remember the exact language, but rather than accepted, just say required.
And I can give you that new language with required if you need that.
Okay.
I had a question about, it looked like the city engineer said there needs to be the subdivision plat, acceptance. I wasn't sure kind of where we were on that process or
I'm glad you
how that plays into this.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up. So that is noted in the documentation, the report. The property owner has actually submitted that application. That process has started and started circulation on Tuesday. We received their application late last week. So the way it'll work is the actual subdivision, because it's a minor subdivision, will solely be reviewed and approved as an administrative review by staff, and then me by code as a zoning administrator would have the authority to eventually approve that subdivision were it to meet all the requirements of our city codes per the Development Review Board review of it. So what the reasoning is you look at the parcels right now, they're kind of these carved, the one's like a carved kind of odd shape and then almost like a C-type shape, right? The goal would be to create a lot that matches identical the site plan that's found in your packet, so that then it would be a two-lot subdivision, and that's what the applicant has provided, so that then this matches up correctly to the lot for which this property will be developed.
And so all of that is included in the motion?
Yeah, and that is found as Article 9, or Condition 9.
Okay. Great, thank you.
Yep.
All right, taking it back to the applicant, if anybody wants to come to the podium.
And then I have questions for
Yep.
Mike.
Oh, you do? Oh, okay, I thought you asked him.
I didn't ask any.
Oh, that's fine.
That's fine.
All right, so, do
You're gonna
you,
get in trouble on one of these rounds.
Yeah, it's
Throw
fine.
it at
It's a
everyone.
good thing I really like him. That's okay.
do you want to ask questions to the applicant at this point?
No, they're for Mike.
Okay,
Well,
so,
one. I do have one.
go ahead.
If that subdivision is accepted and created on the west side, it seemed to me, when I was looking at the drawing, that they would have access to cut through your parking lot. Does that not seem dangerous to you?
Well, we had that access. That's something we worked in conjunction with our seller, that they had an access point there to be able to get any traffic that they had through there. We designed the location of it to be optimum, to be able to allow the traffic to flow through the site, for them to have the ingress and egress there.
I will note and add that there also, again, this is conceptual, so we need to be careful. We don't have a firm development plan in place. But there's also a conceptual identity of a location on the north along 1250 West for additional access point to that property. So you would have one to the north and then the shared access use available through Quik Trip. That's the concept design for the other property if it were to be developed in the future. So it's not just one access point, I guess.
No, yes, I see that there are two. I just think if somebody's in a hurry to get to work, or somebody's in a hurry to get home, and you've got the store here, and you've got the gas pumps here,
Yeah.
it seems very dangerous to me.
And that, again, I defer to the.
Yeah, so because of that, there is a lot of traffic that does happen in between the canopy and the store.
Yes.
So one thing that is unique about Quik Trip is if you look at a lot of the dimensions compared to a lot of our competitors, our dimensions are significantly larger than a lot of the competitors, with that intention, knowing that there is more traffic. Sometimes that traffic is a little faster, so that's why we have it spaced the way that we do and designed the way that we have it, just to be able to make the safest possible ingress and egress for the customers and the vehicles.
Is this a pattern that you have in some of your other
locations?
We
Is
do.
this tried and true?
Yes, yes. We have this in a lot of other conditions around the country where we'd have an access point in that same spot, and that's what we found to be the safest.
I still have concerns about that because I just watch people at any gas station pull from the pump and then just want to get up to the convenience store to either go to the bathroom or to buy something. And with cross-traffic coming through, if
Yeah.
you're building that, you're going to have lots of people with cars, right, that are going to go through there. Is there any way to change that?
That would somewhat depend on the future plans of what Wright Development has over there. So that would, there is some contingent on that and what plans that they're going to do in the future and where that they would like the access points. But as they develop it and when they develop it, I think we'd be very open to working with them. We've had a good relationship over the past year. We meet over once a month, just to coordinate and make sure that everything is moving forward, and that's something that we can continue to do as they develop their property.
So as it's currently drawn and as it will currently be built, according to what you're anticipating and wanting, are you leaving that area open? Like, you're not planting things right there and you're having sort of a driveway opening there that would go to just the current gravel or whatever, the weeds that are there?
Correct, it would be curbed and barricaded off
Would be barricaded
until
off.
such time as they made their connection to it, or if in the future they needed that connection moved, we would have to adjust the landscaping accordingly with it.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
It answers my question,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. More questions for the applicant?
No, I think my rest of mine are from
Just
the-
maybe clarify, was it an agreement between the parties that there is that access point? Or is that what you're proposing so that in the event the parties want that access point, that's still up for discussion?
That is something that they had asked for and connected into the conceptual plan that they had, that we would connect into it, yes.
From my understanding, it's also something that the fire department's going to require to make sure that there's adequate access for emergency services.
Now,
And so
one limitation, that's an interesting comment, I appreciate you bringing up, Spencer. One limitation with the whole property is Parish Lane right there in its proximity to Legacy's off-ramp and on-ramp, right? And so UDOT is pretty much putting a lockdown on any access on and off of Parish Lane. Even that right turn in, right after 1250 West into their site is one of the things that UDOT's looking at pretty closely. So where I'm going is further to the west as you go, there will be no allowable access points provided by UDOT. So that then puts Wright Development's property in a tough position, because if they have to have two access points, which would be required by fire, there really are no other options available to them for that site to meet that requirement by the fire department, absent them having that connectivity into this site because of those
That's a good
restrictions.
That is a very good point, but to that point, we just approved something where there was a U-turn, right?
The
Big enough-
roundabout.
No. In our last meeting,
Oh.
right? It wasn't
Like in a residential situation? you're
residential
saying?
situation.
The residential, are you talking about the Port
They
Orleans?
would
Yeah.
reverse
Yeah.
now.
They actually would just go in and then, pull back out.
pull back, not turn
They
around.
won't turn around. They'll back in and then just pull back forward.
And this, they couldn't because it's L-shaped where they're
The
going.
because the fire will require, if you look at parcel 2, it's much bigger than parcel 1. So,
West or north?
so
What are you talking-
both, because it's like an upside down
Right.
L or right angle, right?
Right.
And you can see it. And so, actually, the way that it wraps around the property and it's larger,
It's even bigger than this.
it needs 2 access points to be able to function correctly and be able to be modular enough for vehicles to move around within the site. And when you don't have access onto Parish Lane, where else are you gonna put your second access point if not here?
Okay, okay, I agree.
So you get put in a tough position. But I think some of your points about cross-traffic have some valid discussion relevancy. I'm just saying, that's
Right.
the reason the design is such that it is.
So couldn't it then, Mike or Lisa, like, I don't know if this is a legal question or not, there's a point from Parish where they can enter, right?
Just right, yeah, right.
At the end of their property right there. Couldn't that be, could the access point be right when they went in, right there, instead of more in the middle, so people are going less in between the convenience store and the
All
gas
the
station?
access points are subject to the regulation of UDOT.
The.
Are you
no,
talking about-
the
oh,
entrance
their
point
internal one?
to the subdivision.
Their internal one, again, that would be between them and the property owner and what they've agreed to as far as, you're talking about the connection to the property to the west that would be undeveloped?
Yes,
You're saying that as it's shown, Sid, if you can go,
you can go
that
larger,
works.
Sid.
You just rotated it. You're saying shift it to the south?
Zoom in on that
Yes.
area right there.
So that when they
The
come
west.
in, they can go into the complex instead of having to go through and create a traffic lane, essentially, in between the convenience store and the gas pumps.
Where are you gonna put the condos? You're gonna have to put the condos behind the parking lot. And then you're gonna have access on the west side, which means you got to shave off some condos. Or part of the building, whatever it ends up being.
So,
I see what you're saying.
The other thing I think that
create
you have
more
to,
asphalt.
that looks like a giant storm drain basin underground right there. And so now if you start to move into its location, I don't know if that storm drain basin would have to be relocated or if it could still have a roadway on top of it. It probably still could, right? Have a roadway on top of it theoretically. Not to put you guys on the spot, but.
we're spitballing, we're asking. I guess we're just asking, does the driveway, can it be moved closer to the south so that the thoroughfare between the convenience store and the gas station is not such a thoroughfare, the only thoroughfare to come in?
Yes, the short answer is yes, it can be, but ultimately, that's something that we would have to work with our partner on, the right development team, and when they were, what they ultimately come to you with a layout, then that'll help dictate. But as the current layout that they have, this was the optimal spot to put it, to give the maximum for fire and the maximum use of the property. So if they come with a different plan and that needs to be moved, that is something that we're willing to work with them on, yes.
Yeah, it seems optimal to have the most units over there and parking associated with it. I just don't think it's I don't think it's the wisest thing with the amount of traffic and people going in. I just watch people go in and out of, particularly the competitor across the street. They just zoom in and they zoom out. Sometimes it's like, gosh dang it, like,
Yeah.
you're not even paying attention.
No,
I
you-
don't want anyone to get hurt.
Yeah, no, you absolutely want to try to minimize the conflict points on the side as much as you can. That's something that we strive to do, is to minimize that, just to create the safest experience possible in there.
Yes.
And like I said, something that is unique about Quik Trip, if you do look at the dimensions, they are very different than our competitors. We haven't found anyone that does dimensions the way that we do, and we do that very, very intentionally. If you look underneath our canopy, how wide and how long a lot of this stuff is, it is very unique only to Quik Trip. And then all of our drive dimensions and even our parking dimensions are typically larger than most municipalities require. And that's what we had just found works the best and creates the safest environment, because we don't want accidents on the site. We want everyone to have a safe experience if you're walking through the site, if you're riding a bike, or if you're driving a car.
Yes, but they're still crossing over, sorry, but they're still crossing over from the gas pump to the convenience store in
Correct.
the thoroughfare.
We can't eliminate all the conflict points,
Right.
so the goal
Yeah.
is to, how
Right.
can we minimize it and make it as safe as possible? And it's a very unique dimension that's from the building face to the front of the canopy is very large, and that's what we found works the best to try to control that.
Well, thank you for explaining that.
I was just gonna say, isn't there some sort of signage or traffic control, something or other you could put up, stop sign, yield from, this gas station into the future development, should that need arise?
Yeah, when it happens, and if there is a problem, that's something that we can work and put up some signage and stuff, if that's needed to help with that, absolutely. We've done that before.
Additional questions for the applicant?
Not for applicant.
This may be a dumb question. Does it have to be a shared access point between the two? Like, from what I'm seeing, it's going in at the Quik Trip for the future development. Can it not go in a little bit further to the west and just bypass entirely Quik Trip?
You're talking about the right-in off of Parish, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
No, there's a lot of limitations, so they want to try to, the functional area and the control. So we have a lot of UDOT restrictions
It's a
on where
UDOT
that can
restriction
go.
Because it's so close to
Oh, and
the
you see
on-ramp.
and you see the box as well, to just off of the property line, there's a
Yeah.
big box, combo box, yeah. So you start getting into all kinds of conflicts and challenges, and the closer you get to the on-ramp, the more UDOT bristles about access.
Sure, that makes sense. So you don't want in and out right there and there's accidents, okay, yeah, I understand.
So it's just the balance of finding that, the best spot with all the constraints.
Yeah.
Okay, so, thank you. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, we're here for any questions that you have, and I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the questions and the opportunity to present in front of you guys, so thank you very much.
Okay, coming back to the commission for discussion. What do you like to lead out on the discussion? All right?
Yeah, so matching elements, we brought this up initially a couple months ago or
Yeah.
whenever.
Yeah.
Those matching elements, I don't know exactly what that means. We talked about signage, lights, timeframes.
Yeah, consistent integrity of signage, landscaping, architectural aesthetic.
Heights.
Maybe not as much heights, but I think if you think about, the best mirror, for lack of a better way to say it, would be the competitor across the street.
Right.
If you have a similar design aesthetic from a landscaping, construction, or even elevated beyond the competitor, I feel like you're meeting the integrity and the intent of the Legacy Gateway area and what was previously approved for that area. And so, from what's been provided, even as earlier noted on the last item, the increase of landscaping and all the effort to enhance the landscaping seems to show a willingness by them to do improvements. But yeah, I guess to answer your question, you're talking about your signage elements, you're talking about your overall aesthetics and your parking elements, and you're talking about your landscaping elements. We need to be matching what's been already developed within the district area.
Right. So then is 30 feet high on the sign, is that the same as the competitor?
That meets the Parish Lane Gateway design standards for signage. The maximum height is 30 feet. And so they actually are entitled to that by that design standard.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But no higher than that, though. That's the max cap.
Okay. I had a couple questions when it comes to the U.S. Army Corps engineer things. And in the wetlands, when it's talking, a couple things like silt fencing and then the wetlands that are being filled. I was reading both 0.9 and 1.3. Do we have to clarify what
So
that?
I will say, so this is what the guidance is from the Public Works Department professionals that assist with wetlands. They said when it gets to a situation where there's a requirement of the wetlands, all we're checking is to make sure there's been an appropriate request that's been verified by the Army Corps of Engineers and as an accepted request. That burden of requirement has been fulfilled and met with what's been provided to us. So we don't get any further down into the weeds with that, absent to know when the mitigation plan has been finalized as approved and the applicant has moved forward with that mitigation. So I guess what I'm saying is if you're wanting to know the nitty-gritties of how and why or anything like that,
No.
yeah.
I'm clearly wanting to know if that's something that we needed to clarify, because it's 0.9, it's also 1.3.
I
But
mean, I
maybe
think.
it's both.
When it comes to, I guess, the elements of the study, we don't get into it, I guess.
So it doesn't matter to us.
From our perspective.
Okay.
The Army Corps is showing that they've accepted it, and so that's why one of the requirements would be that we just get verification that that mitigation plan is moving forward.
Okay. On, I don't know if you can pull it up, I can't, but on C-0.2,
Oh, is it a document in the packet?
yeah,
Let me see. Oh, it's one of the sheets of the site plan, is that what it is?
yeah, I just had a couple questions on that.
Okay, let me pull it up.
It's actually like, should be a drawing though, I think. C-0.2.
Just wanna make sure I know what you're referencing there.
While they're trying to find it, what's your question?
So it addresses a truck washing area, that needs to happen, but that, I didn't find that anywhere on there. And then silt fencing.
So that sounds like a SWIP plan to me. That's what that sounds like, so that might be
But it
something
was, the
for,
page says C-0.2, but I don't.
that might be something for the applicant group, because I feel like that's a SWIP issue.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I believe that you're referring to the SWIP area, and what they're talking about there is it's not, it's a vehicle washing, so that when the vehicle, any construction, it's for construction activities. So when construction vehicle's there, it'll clean any dirt and silt off, so it can't leave the site. It's
Right.
it's not a final product.
Yeah, it's not a car wash, it's not a
Correct,
semi-wash. No, I
correct.
get that.
Okay.
I was just wondering, why I didn't see it when I was looking at all of the things that it said that it needed on there. That's not something that I saw on there, so I was just wondering.
Where's sheet C-02, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, on that page, where that truck wash area is. I mean, is that like something that you're going to do? Because I know it's necessary so that you're not cross-contaminating, especially because of the wetlands and all of the other things.
Yeah, so the SWIP documents are living documents, and when the GC is building the site, they have ownership of that. And so we will call out a lot of the elements that are needed, but not specifically tell them where to put it, because they'll have the control and the ability to adjust that on the fly in the field. And as they're moving and doing construction activities, they'll have to move it several times. So if it's tied down to a plan, every time an inspector would come, it would have to be there. But if we generally note it, then it has to be there, but it doesn't specifically say where, so they can adjust as they build.
Makes sense.
So we do, a lot of the SWIP is intentionally done that way, to just allow easier construction activities.
Okay, but you will have that for sure.
Yes, if it's called out on there and it's a requirement, it has to be there.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you
Yes.
for explaining that.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
that
are.
was my question.
More questions?
Just for Mike a little bit.
Go ahead.
So on your points, A through K, can you pull that up, Sid?
It's actually Lisa.
Lisa?
What?
Lisa's driving it.
Lisa's doing it. My computer is not working.
Is not happening. Look, we can turn sideways. Oh, there it is.
So the motion,
It's in my report, and it would be page 5 of my report.
Right there, yeah. Top of page 6.
Okay, so maybe it's not those points. It's the 11 points that you had.
K goes on to the next page.
I think that's like 2 pages down, is 10, I think it was 10 points.
The 10
oh, the
conditions.
conditions.
The 10 conditions that were recommended, is that you're referencing?
Well,
Maybe?
Let me see.
It's up there on that screen. Can you see it?
Well, you have A through K somewhere.
Yeah, it's right
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Okay,
It's
so
A
that's,
through I and then JK on the next page.
oh, we missed the I. Is that what he said?
No. No, I'm just saying that it spans pages. This starts at
It's
A
on
and it
5
goes to
and
K,
Okay.
5 and
5 to
6.
6.
Okay. Are these listed anywhere else?
They're replicated as conditions 1 through 10.
Okay, show me that one,
Conditions? Right there.
maybe. Let me look at this for a second. Then I had a couple questions on that, but I don't know exactly what they were. That's exactly right. You only have the 1 through 10 here,
Yeah.
and then you have A through K.
Right before, correct.
Do you have the
There were,
question?
well, there are 11 points
do you
on
remember
A
the
through
questions?
K. No, I didn't write them
It's
specifically
just
because I had so many.
K is, it just says any other conditions
Yeah.
that may be imposed by the planning commission.
Yeah,
So K was just kind of a catch-all.
right.
So otherwise that would be 11, you're right, but then the motion only contains 10 because it doesn't count for K.
Okay, so that was my
Correct.
thing, because I counted 10 and then it was 11, and it
Yeah.
wasn't making sense to
Yeah.
me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. I just wanted more clarification, but you went through those
Yeah,
things
sure.
previously.
But I guess, to your point, I mean, the new 11 would be your prior comments about the bond requirements, right?
Actually, I just
Or was that-
attached a little bit of commentary to 9 and a little bit of commentary to 10.
Okay.
So it wouldn't change the number. Got it.
And then also in that, does it talk about the status? Determining the final decision on the proposed access points? Does this
That-
need to be made like a condition or something?
It
Well, remember,
is,
this is just a site plan. Like, this is just site plan, so all they need to be able to show is that
Oh, yeah.
they can comply with the
number,
ordinances, not that
number
they-
1 does address the UDOT access management plan.
Okay, that was, yeah. Yes, and, yes, thank you. Okay. I'm done now.
Okay. Those are great questions. Lane?
I was curious, Mike, if we, the light study that was done, is that something that's required by the city? Like, we oversee that?
You mean the photometric?
Yeah.
It's not really required, but it is something that's added to help us better understand how the lighting is.
So we don't have any like minimum candle field lights or anything, okay, restrictions?
No,
Okay.
we're not that sophisticated like some other cities that
I mean, it's a safety thing. You have too little candle lighted, especially in parking lots and crazy areas.
Obviously, that could be something that we could discuss internally as a planning commission in the future.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And then to your point about the, like, the crossroad, I'm sorry, I'm bringing this back up, I mean, are we allowed at some point to require maybe speed bumps or just natural barriers that just at least slow traffic down?
That would have been, well,
We too late?
I don't really know how you could impose that unless you could articulate findings and evidence to justify that as a site plan condition or improvement
The
requirement.
Ray Patterson.
I mean, honestly,
Yeah, I think, let me put this out there as it relates to that comment. This commentary will be on the record. It will be available for future planning commission, whether it's the same group or the composition changes. So as any future development may occur on the other parcels, we could bring forward the commentary from this meeting or the minutes from this meeting to rediscuss or bring forward that as part of a future conceptual site plan development of the other properties when they may be ready to be developed. So what I guess I'm saying is, everything that's been discussed here is on the record, and as such, could be then brought forward as further evidence for future discussion as the other site gets developed or designed.
Could you amend like item number 1 where it says the applicant will need to receive final approval by UDOT for access management plan for project, including but not limited to safety measures at that access point,
The only.
to just enhance the traffic flow and safety of the
You
vehicles?
wouldn't want to link it to UDOT. You would actually create it as some other alternative condition that would be driven more by the city and future site development. And I'm not sure exactly what it would say and what legally you were allowed to have it say, but that's probably how you would go about doing something like
I
that.
think it would be problematic to reach back onto a private property owner once the deal's done.
Yeah.
So you do need evidence in the record of the detrimental impact,
That's-
which would require analyzing the traffic and all of that, which I'm sure they've done. But, you know, there could be problems with the other route as well, because now you're conflicting the people coming in if you move it further to the south. But- So there's pros and cons with both locations.
I am a little hesitant in trying to unpack this or trying to get into this, just simply because the applicant has motivation to make sure that things are safe. Accidents on their own property could come back and bite them really hard. I feel like there's enough guardrails there. So
And-
any time that I've experienced trying to dictate to an applicant traffic flow patterns, it hasn't worked. And that's, in my experience, at a different position. So there was one where it was a gas station with a car wash, and we dictated directionality, that we dictated to the applicant, this is the direction your site must flow. And it was not a good idea. And so everything had to come back and be redone. I feel like we're getting a little bit too granular. Personally, this is just my statement about the
And
direction.
like Lisa was saying, we really don't have the evidence to substantiate that at this point. Right, without hearing from UDOT or other experts.
I also just don't see that there's an ordinance to tie it to.
Well, and Mike, you were saying, with the development, we could have look at that, revisit the notes or the minutes or
Right.
whatever, but then that would only be applicable to the new subdivision.
And how it connects to what was otherwise approved here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any further questions from the applicant? So because it's been loose, I mean, generally, we end with our discussion and then take a vote, but there's been a lot here. Is there anything you'd like to add or respond to?
No, other than we'll continue to be a good neighbor and work with the rights as they develop. I mean, I can just give you my guarantee of that.
Thank you. All right, bringing it back to the Planning Commission for a potential motion. I will not do a motion here. Who wants to lead out?
I just have to tell you, I'm just, I appreciate what you said about, as an owner, they're gonna take every precaution to keep it safe. But you just can't control idiots that drive through. Let's just get real. Somebody that just wants to go home or go pick up their kid or go to the bathroom or whatever it is, and just not paying attention. I'm so uncomfortable with that. I just feel like that there should be, I know we have no evidence or whatever, but there should be something in there as a condition. I don't know what it would be. I don't know legally we can say anything, but I just, as is, I'm uncomfortable with it. So that's what I have to say about that. Did I make everyone uncomfortable?
No.
No, I think we all appreciate the thoughtfulness.
It's
Yeah.
very thoughtful. It's just,
Yeah.
you're gonna have idiots no matter which configuration you have, and I don't see how this configuration is any worse than any of the other configurations that are possible on the site, nor do I see how there's any ordinance tied to us saying in your site plan, hey, your site plan is out of compliance if you fail to do X with this type of traffic flow.
Oh, I wouldn't ever want to say that. I would just,
But that's the standard, right? That's part of what we're evaluating. We aren't evaluating whether or not their site plan is a good idea. We're evaluating whether or not their site plan complies with code, right? So I see no code to tie it to.
And Mike or Lisa, I mean, if for some reason there is a, devastating issue right at that access point, couldn't the parties come to the city or the city,
To do like
an
an amended site
an
plan or
amended
something.
site plan or something to say, hey, we're gonna move this site access point 20 feet to the west?
And we might even create recommendations or encourage it. Clearly, we can't require them to, but, if there was something that was substantiated and
But
now we have some evidence.
that was what I was referencing earlier without unpacking it, but we dictated terms in a site plan, and then they had to come back and fix it when they found out that, you know what, this isn't working, and there's so many better ways to do this, and then they had to go through the whole thing again for what I view as self-interested parties that should arrange things the way that make a lot of sense for them, will likely end in the best solution for everybody involved. That's what I feel.
And the sophisticated parties, business people, I mean, they're spent a lot of time and money and, consulting with these experts who are the trained professionals in this sort of, situation. So they've probably done their due diligence.
well, but did they
But-
do their
but-
due
but-
diligence just as that unit? Or did they do the due diligence as that unit, and now we have an additional build-out?
I think they've partnered, I think the parties are here and, but I think your point's still it's gonna still have to be tested, right? See if it holds up, and you'll have UDOT come in and look at everything and examine if it's gonna be safe. That's condition number one, right?
Yep.
UDOT doesn't examine that, do they?
No, but as far as the access management plan in and out of the site off of 1250 in Parish, they'll look at
Just
that.
off of the main street,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
And the current access point that we see is the closest they can get to the off-ramp, or on-ramp?
I don't 100% know. I don't want to vouch one way or another, but there you
Saying
go.
yes.
Applicant is saying yes.
The
There you
applicant
go.
says yes, yeah.
And even then, I think there's still a little bit of a question of whether or not UDOT's going to be thumbs up on it at the end of the day.
I'll go ahead and make a motion. I hereby make a motion for the planning commission to approve the final site plan for the property located at approximately 1262 West Parish Lane, known as the portions of parcels 06-006-0118 and 06-006-0082, subject to the following conditions of approval, 1 through 10, with the right? With following findings for action?
We need to make a couple of amendments.
On
Sorry.
9 and 10, we have to add.
Maybe this is
verbiage.
why I shouldn't have done this.
No, this is
you're good, you're good.
This is good.
Yep.
I can give you the recommended language and you can
Yes.
say if you accept it.
Please.
On the sentence in item 9 that says, this includes that the final minor subdivision plat will need to be recorded in accordance with Title 15 of the city municipal codes. I would add comma.
That's right.
And associated bonding that will be required by the city prior to construction. That would be that extension of that item. And then item 10, where it says related costs consistent with city ordinances and fee schedules, comma, this includes any bonding that may be applied.
So items 1 through, oh,
Actually, may be required, is that?
As required.
May be required, yeah.
okay, so items 1 through 10 with the additions Mr. Eggett has made that I accept
Good. With the following findings.
with the
of
following
action.
findings for actions A through C.
All right, I have a motion on the table.
I second it.
I have a second on the table. Any discussions on the motion? We've mostly discussed the motion. All right, I'm going to start down here.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. You can vote nay, it's not going to hurt anybody's feelings.
I'm going to say nay.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, what are we at? 5-1. Okay. All right,
Only because,
You know,
fair.
because the
Okay.
rest is all perfect.
All right, that is everything on our business agenda. Got to go back to the first page. Thank you very much, you guys. Stick around as long as you like.
That's why they're leaving.
Community Development Director's Report.
I don't have to go into, I think about it as I was coming in, what I would comment on. And I think the thing that I'll comment on is I am going to a water conference tomorrow where the city administrator will be there also, called Prepare 60. We've been invited by, they're the water, I think it's a bunch of different water agencies throughout the state of Utah that are part of this opportunity. And so I was nominated to attend, and our city manager will be there as a presenter. But they're talking about the challenges and the issues and the concerns relative to water throughout the state of Utah. And so I guess our city manager went last year and was very enlightened. He's been asked to come back as a panelist, and now he thinks it'll be healthy for me to learn as well. So once I go to that and get information, I will be sure to do a brief report to the planning commission about what I learned. But leading into that, he's also tasked me with doing a reevaluation of 12.51, which is land use, which means there will be a code ordinance update that will likely be coming to the planning commission for evaluation relative to water conservation. I've already started a draft, but I need to probably go to the conference, get a better understanding of it, and then determine how that draft marries into our code to bring something forward to you that reflects better water conservation ideas. There are certain standards that Weaver Basin Water would like us to have in order to qualify for the water rebate program that they make available if you want to flip your yard into more drought tolerant water conservation designs. So that will definitely have some play in what I work on and bring forward. He's tasked me with having that done and through the city council before the end of the year. So that means probably in the next, maybe, I probably won't be as soon as the next meeting, but the one thereafter, we could definitely have some kind of a draft for you to look at and evaluate.
Doesn't Caseville have something like that?
A lot of cities do. Kaysville did. The last city I worked in, I had to do one. That's actually what I modeled the current one on, but I know there's probably some nuances that have changed since then and need to be added. They're specific more to Centerville and South Davis area. So but I have had experience writing a water conservation code before, so let's put it that way. So it's just gonna be, the tricky part with it now is figuring out how to integrate it correctly and alter or overlap existing code so as to not break what the code already has existing, but create new features to it for water conservation.
And not kill the trees.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
The additional trees that we're adding.
Well, I mean,
Just the three.
you flip your script and then you stop watering the trees.
Right.
You're gonna go to Quik Trip, because they have 3 more trees over there.
I actually will go there. May park over here.
So that's all I report, but I will, like I said, I will bring some information
If you don't table it.
to the planning commission, because I think it'll be helpful as we go into that mode of discussion, make sure we do it right.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, on to the minutes from the prior meeting. Any suggested changes?
Didn't see any.
Neither. I don't think we've made suggested changes to the minutes in,
Wow.
feels like years,
Yeah.
which is a badge of honor.
Way to go, Jennifer.
Well done. All right, I'll accept a motion.
I make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
Very good, I've got a motion.
I'll second.
I've got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, that's unanimous. I'll accept a motion to close.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
All right, I've got a motion on the table.
I second it.
Got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
We are done. All right.